All right. Hey, Jackie. So it looks like you have a question. What can we
Yes.
help you with? And just real quickly for everyone, if this is your first call, should be this is part of our wealth through real estate investing school community, a free community with the foundation focused on deal analysis and underwriting, just ensuring that whether you're a buyer, lender, wholesaler, connector, whatever you're doing in the real estate space, you should have a foundational and solid knowledge on how to analyze deals. And this is part of our weekly live Q&A and deal analysis. So Jackie, it sounds like you have a question. We're going to be using my creative finance investment calculator, just as a quick reference. Let's see. If you ever want any of my calculators, there's free ones as well as paid ones. So if you go to resources, we have the free creative finance, free pay, and free conventional calculators. And then if you go to shop, you can access this paid one, the ultimate creative finance calculator. Biggest difference is it's going to accommodate for a lot more exit strategies, and it's going to accommodate for a lot more exit strategies. You're going to have the opportunity to, like, if you're raising capital, how does that look? You're going to have some dashboards for capital raising, like just so you have this stuff to share, longer term analysis, all that good stuff. So it's just a much more robust version, but the free one is more than good for what most people need. And just stay connected with me on Instagram, please. So Michael M. Nat, just stay connected. I'm always posting cool things to help you in regards to your journey to financial freedom, whether that's through personal finance, passive investing in index funds, or real estate investing. So with all that being said, Jackie, you have a question. Let's do some live deal analysis.
Awesome. Okay. Yes, I have a question about underwriting. So I got these properties at townhome. Just keep in mind that
Let me ask you
I
this.
got,
Is this a property coming from a wholesaler, or are you the one
yes, a
on the property?
wholesaler.
Okay, so it's coming from a
Yeah,
wholesaler.
yes, it's
Okay.
coming from a wholesaler. And keep in mind that I got a loan, a HELOC,
Mhm.
and the interest rate is 9.9. So I'm going to give you the address of this place so you can find it and get all the information from Silo.
Okay.
It's 2028 North.
228 North.
Yes,
Mhm.
2028 North.
Oh, 202028.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
3930 West, Lehigh,
Oh, wait, I missed
Utah.
something. I'm sorry. 2028 North what?
3930
Oh, okay.
West,
Okay.
Lehigh, Utah, 84043.
Can you drop this in the chat? I'm so confused.
Yeah,
This looks
no
like
problem.
longitude and latitude. This looks like
I
in
know,
the middle of the
sorry.
ocean. One second. Uh, I just maybe don't know Utah addresses very well.
Yeah,
So
it's always with the north and west and south and
is
yeah.
that common for Utah? Okay, that's good
Yeah,
to
it's so
I don't
common.
own, nor do I look at properties in Utah. So I'd say it's not a good market. That's just not a market that I've dabbled into.
Okay, there you go.
Oh, wow. Okay, it really is like this. All right. So we're gonna open it up. You all can see my screen. All right, so you said this is a townhome. That's important. I'm not a fan of townhomes or condos because I really love to own the land that the property is on. Like, the land is usually, well, it depends on the market, but it's very important for me to own the actual land itself. And usually townhomes and condos have HOAs, which could have rental restrictions. They have monthly fees, or whatever their fees are, and they can assess larger fees if they need to. Here's a property, looks nice and turnkey, 3 by 2.5, 2364. So 3 by 2.5, 2364. I love to take the Zillow listing, and then I like to hyperlink it here. So if you're on a Mac, just Command K and then post it, and then just paste it in there, or you could highlight, right click, and click. Oh, I don't even know how you do it. I don't, oh, here's the link button. You could do that. I just use the shorthand command. So then I'll always be able to pull it up. So let's look at the property real quickly. So this is, oh wait, so this is off market. So this is not an on market deal. Here,
Yes.
actually, don't tell me. Let me look at this and I'll probably be able to figure this out anyway. Kind of what the situation is. Okay, so it's pretty nicely renovated, especially in a townhome since usually it's
It's
townhome.
brand new. It was built last year.
Oh, it's a brand new build. I see.
Yes, correct.
Oh, okay, newly built, never lived in. Wow. So, well, that's not a good sign. Never lived in, but they tried to rent it and they couldn't. Is that true? Oh, well, maybe that was when they listed it previously. Are you sure it was, you didn't say it was never lived in, right? Someone
No,
in
no.
it for a year?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know the situation there.
Okay. It looks like, yeah, it looks like it got rented because it's hard to say it's hard to say because when it's rented, all they can do is remove the listing. It's not like it says, oh, it was rented at this time. So the assumption was that it rented at this, at or close to this value of 2470. So that's a very, very good starting place for what this thing can rent for as a long-term rental. So let's put that. We have this note. So Zillow 2470 previously. And that was a year ago, but rents haven't increased drastically over this last year compared to some of the years prior. All right. Let me see if I can find anything else about, there's no sale info or whatever. So, all right, talk to me about this deal. Give me information about what did the wholesaler provide you? Is this a sub
Yes.
two? Is it seller finance, cash, conventional? What is
It's a
this?
sub two. It's a
Okay.
sub two, and the price is 505. The down payment will be 10%, which is 55,000.
Wait, 550,000 purchase price or 505,000 purchase price?
505,000.
So the down payment's 50,500, correct? At 10%?
They told me 55.
55,000. Okay, so that's not
Yes,
10%. So if
it's
we're gonna,
not. Mhm.
if you put this percentage, right, you can select this percent to be whatever, and it'll change this value right here. Or you just set the value here, and if you want to know what the percentage is, change this from the 10% equals this down payment amount, click that, divided by or backslash this 505. So now your down payment is closer to 11%. If you want it to be more specific, you can add more decimal places. It's 10.89%. Rounds up to 11,
Okay.
makes sense. So there's a sub two loan that you're taking over.
Yes.
What is the balance of the loan that you're taking over?
Oh, they haven't given me the balance. They just told me the monthly payment will be 2903.
That's of the loan or that's with taxes and insurance included, so full PITI.
I think it's a full PITI
Okay,
because it says PITI at 4.25%.
that's the interest rate,
Yes.
4.25%. Do you know
Yes.
what type of loan that they used?
No.
Okay, so now we're gonna do some,
It's a 3 year, it says 3 year balloon
oh, I already
with
don't
a,
like it.
yeah, and it says with a 2 year appraisal contingency. If the property appraises with less than 30% equity at 3 years, there will be an automatic 2 years extension.
So that's good. I
Yeah.
include that in all of my balloons, but even then, my shortest balloons are no less than 5 years, typically 7 years at minimum. That's for me personally. It doesn't have to be,
Okay.
that's just my personal rule of thumb. Okay, so we can add that in here. So and we're just adding notes, right? So
Mhm.
3-year balloon with 20% loan contingency. We're balloon with 20% loan contingency for 2-year extension. Okay, so they'll extend if it's not at least 20%. Well, that's really
It says,
equity.
yeah, if the property appraises with less than 30% equity
Oh,
at
third.
3 years, yeah,
Right, and that's gonna be a
then it
combination
will
of your
be the
debt
two
pay down.
years.
Right,
Mhm.
that's gonna be a combination of your debt pay down and if it appreciates.
Yeah.
So, all right. Any more information they provided you?
Yeah, and then it says $10,000 EMD.
Okay, that doesn't matter. That's part of, that's just to get into the deal. That'll go
Yeah.
towards something at closing. So I'll transfer to your closing cost.
And
And
then the close is just on, by the end of this month.
but what about assignment fee and all that stuff? What about their wholesaler fee?
They haven't given me the wholesaler fee. No, I need to
What
ask
if you
for
have this
that.
information? Maybe you could just send me everything and I can try to extract whatever
Okay. Okay. I'll send it to you by text.
Okay, cool. I'll wait for that. Okay, so I have all the info. Let's quickly go over it. We have. Okay, 2436 square foot. If you finish the basement, so it's only 1,700 square feet. In actuality, they're accounting for the basement, but it's unfinished, so that's not actually
Correct.
accounted for. Price 505,000, down payment 55,000, monthly payment 2903 for PITI at 4.25%. 3-year balloon with the 30% contingency, $10,000 EMD. HOA appears to have no rental restrictions. I'll be getting the CC&Rs. That's good. Today to confirm that, we'll forward them. My first question would be, hey, can you break down the entry cost? You're telling me it's $505,000 purchase price, $55,000 down payment. My assumption when I'm underwriting is the remainder, if there's no seller financing, straight sub two, I'm assuming the loan balance is the difference between those two. So that would be 450,000 is what I'm assuming is the loan balance. In actuality, it probably isn't because this down payment probably comprises of assignment fee. Maybe there's an agent commission, maybe there isn't. I don't think so because it's off market. Maybe they included closing costs or not. We don't know until they break down the entry costs. We're gonna assume that in actuality, you're purchasing this property for 495,000, right? So $10,000 of it is going to assignment fee. So your down payment is only 45,000, but you're gonna reduce this purchase price to 495. And let me explain why. So for me, the purchase price is only the cash to the seller, the sub two loan that you're taking over, and whatever the remaining equity is for the seller finance loan. That's what the purchase price is. Assignment fee and things like that are included in my entry costs, but they're not necessarily part of the purchase price. They're just part of the fees you have to pay to get into the deal. Does that make sense? Kind of my rationale, my thought process on that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're buying this for a lot more than 495 because you have to account for these other fees, but they're, to me, no different than agent commissions, than closing costs, or just a fee to get into the deal. It doesn't actually do you much good in regards to like what the property's worth or anything like that. Because you're not, well, it could be that you're paying them and then they're paying out of their down payment to them. I would assume that they're just telling you 55,000 all in. And a portion of that goes to them, portion of that goes to the seller. We don't know, but the numbers will kind of stay the same either way. So this
Okay.
information is for the seller
And I
finance.
guess that doesn't matter with the price, sorry, with the price from Silo, right? Because that was way low.
461.70. Yeah, I don't know. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna look at PropStream and see if we can get debt information.
Okay.
I think you all have a link to PropStream from me that gets you a free trial. If you don't have PropStream, I highly recommend it. I'm gonna be fully transparent that the data is a little outdated sometimes and not always 100% accurate, but it is way better than other ways to gather this information. It's just super efficient, super usable, and it helps me a lot. All of my deals I look at through here first and foremost. So, let's get rid of their info. So as an FHA loan, so first of all, if it's an FHA loan, that means there is property mortgage insurance. So of this, we had 2903, that is a combination of your principal and interest payment on your loan, taxes, insurance, and PMI or property mortgage insurance, which I have listed right here as an option. So all that's going to matter is ideally figuring out what the original loan terms were to recreate what the monthly principal and interest is, and then distributing the taxes, insurance, and PMI until you get a mortgage statement to know what they're actually at. But you need to account for all those expenses. It doesn't matter if you put them all in one item, put it all your whole escrow, which let's get into the data and I'll show you what that looks like. So 7% interest 12/11/2022, 7%. Oh, that'd be terrible, especially then. I mean, interest rates weren't that high that early, were they? But it said estimated loan balance. So their original loan amount, this is what we need, the 466,099. That was their original loan amount. So whoever bought this is a low equity seller. They bought it in 2022. Property has not appreciated much in value and they need to sell it now. Maybe they tried renting it out. It didn't work out for them. I don't know. So we're going to go here and we're going to recreate the loan term. What the heck? Is that a word? It is 466,099. 466,099. So the original loan was 466,099. You're saying interest rate is 4.25%. 30-year term is very common, especially for homestead buyers. Most people are buying their properties at 30 year for over 30 years. And you need to know the first payment date. So the loan due date is 12/31/2052. So that means the first loan payment date was, well, that's weird. It's 12/31. Usually it's the first of the month and it recorded 12/11/2022. I'm assuming the first payment was actually 1/1. The loan due date, I believe, is going to be 1/1/2053. So the first payment was actually January 1st, 2023, right? Because we're just taking the 30 years, the loan due date, and going 30 years back. Loans aren't due at the end of the month. They're due at like the final payment, which is going to be at the start of the month. So let's set that. So we said 1/1/23 was the first. So they've barely owned this for, just over a year. 2292.93, and we said the overall mortgage, their PITI, is 2903. So that means their escrow, so this is taxes plus insurance plus, in this instance, PMI, it equals the difference between these two. So the monthly payment minus the monthly loan payment, the escrow is 610.07. That means this $610 is split between taxes, insurance, and the property mortgage insurance. Okay. We're not going to get into the weeds about PMI or anything like that right now. So let's see if this has any tax information for us. See, the thing is, in 2023, the taxes were super low because they are assessing it at a very low amount. That could be because they have homestead exemption. So certain states, certain counties will allow you to reduce the property taxes paid if you are owner occupying it, or if you have let's say a veteran with a disability status, or something like that. There's homestead exemptions. There's a variety of them. Or it could just be that they didn't appraise the property at its current market value at that time. We don't know that in this instance, but I do know that whatever your taxes are going to be much higher than whatever they're paying in taxes, because this will reassess. So I would ask them for the 2024 tax assessment. Let me see what the assessment is. And we can actually, do we pull that up? Let's just pull that up. I'm going to show you guys. It's actually very useful. We're going to deep dive into it. So
yeah, here in my house, which is pretty close to Lehigh, they didn't calculate the appreciation of the taxes very well, and so they actually charged me $600 more than last year on taxes.
all right, so you see how easy that was? All I did was I took the parcel number, went to the county in which the property is located, found wherever you pay from. So we went to, let's go back to the beginning. So all I did was type Leahy, Utah property taxes, went to their treasurer, right, which is where they're pay taxes. And you just say, I'm going to be the one to pay this tax for this property tax. I'm going to put the parcel number in here. And I'm going to click continue. And now we have their information. So we're going to review the tax info for this upcoming year. Owner names, value, so tax history. So for 2024, oh, they haven't issued their taxes yet. Strange. So we don't know what their taxes were for this upcoming year. But I will tell you now. So real estate value improvements. See, their market value previously was 397,300. This year it'll be 417,000. So taxes will be going up, but actually maybe it was assessed fairly accurately, so that's good. Value history. I don't know if they have exemptions, like I said, I don't know that, but I do know that their taxes they paid was 17,1709 in 2023. So we can take 17,1709 and put that
Hey,
here for
Michael,
property taxes. Yep.
do they have a mill rate somewhere on that site?
So we can either calculate the millage rate, or we can go back here and I'll show you. Leahy City, well, this is fiscal year 2021. And actually, this is, I don't know if you guys remember, we talked about smart asset property taxes. I don't know if you guys recall that, but that's a tool that I use to get a rough idea of millage rates. All you're going to need is the zip code. And let's just see what it is stating. Eagle Mountain, okay. Property value, assessed home value was, well, here you go. Average county tax rate, 0.49%. Is this updated? 0.49%. So the tax were 1561. Assessed value was closer to like 450, but either way, the millage rate is what it is. So at their assessed value, around 420-ish, 2058. What did it say it assessed for? 397. 1945, is that what we said? 1770, so it's a little off, but for the most part, it's pretty close. Aaron, what was your question specifically?
No, that's what I was trying to find to really dial
See,
in
look at
that
this right
tax
here.
number.
Leahy City, here's the millage rate, the property tax rate. However, primary residences are taxed at 55% of the assessed value, while secondary residences are taxed at 100% of the assessed value. So if this is not your primary home, you're going to pay much more taxes than someone who is leveraging this as their primary home. Because they bought it in 2023 using an FHA loan, I'm almost certain, well, they should have legally, if they weren't committing mortgage fraud, they should have lived in it. They should have owner occupied it right away, and they would have qualified for much lower taxes. They would be paying 55% of the assessed value, taxes on 55% of the assessed value, not 100%. When you take over, it's going to cost more. Hopefully that makes sense.
Yes, so do you think it's appropriate to ask if the owner was living there last year? Or we already...
I mean, this is where things like this could be useful. I don't see it on here. Getting their tax document itself would be the most useful because it'll show you if there's any exemptions on there or not.
Okay.
So if it's 397,300, we can put that here. So in the calculator, there's a spot for this. 397,300, and the taxes that they paid, 17,1709. Which is 0.432%. That is what we saw, is it not?
Is there not a way to get a copy of their tax bill online?
Not that I'm seeing here. You might just have to request it is the problem. Let's see. Yeah, $10, $58. Well, this is quick claim. Let's see. And that's the problem. Every single location and the way they do things are different. So there's never like an easy way to say, oh, just do this every time for everything. That's the hard part. This isn't right. No, none of these are what we're looking for. There we go. I think we'll find it right here. General taxes, adjustments. Oh, so maybe they didn't get a homestead exemption. I don't know, because usually you'd see that in the adjustment section. Or the way they do it is like we saw here, they're going to just do 55% of the assessed value. It doesn't really, you would assume to see that in the, oh, click here for duplicate tax notice. Request your duplicate valuation or tax notice. Oops. Actually, I don't want to mess with their stuff right now. Let's not get too far into the weeds about taxes at this moment. So let's see for 2024. Yeah, see, they just don't have the info yet. All right, so around a 0.49% is the tax rate. This is pretty close. It's a little off, but it's pretty close. Just assume that when you're going to buy it, it's going to be you're going to be paying more in taxes. That's for sure. I don't know if there's a homestead exemption. I don't see that in the adjustments. They could have qualified for one and only paid 55% of their assessed value, or tax on 55% of the assessed value instead of the full amount. I don't see that occurred because I don't see the adjustments, but I'm also not very familiar with Utah, this county. I don't know about it. So dive into that, get the tax statements from them as well as the mortgage statement if possible. Let's move forward with actually analyzing this deal though. Purchase price is, some areas are going to go off the purchase price as the new assessed value, and some locations don't. They still assume it on their own. It just depends. So around 2139 for taxes. So let's go with that. But theirs is currently 143 for taxes. So 143. So what's remaining from the 610 in escrow and the 143 is 467. Then you still have to account for your insurance and PMI. Probably do like 150 for insurance for the time being, right? These are all estimates, right? 150, and then the remainder is, we're gonna say PMI. We need to get the actual statement to know what that is. So we're gonna say 317.07. At the end of the day, if we were inaccurate with some of these, it's not the end of the world because we still have the collective escrow payment is the same as what their mortgage statement is. But it's really good to get the mortgage statement to actually validate a lot of this information. And to get updated tax records from them and see if they qualified for any exemptions. But we know the taxes will approximately be 2139 moving forward. So we'll adjust that now after the fact. All right. What other information do we have? So we don't have income from them. We see what they previously listed it for, and it was taken off the market fairly quickly. We have our purchase price. We don't need to worry about any of this stuff for the seller finance is a straight sub-2 transaction. We have our loan information here, 2292.93, total PITI is 2903, and that is accounted for here, but there's a little bit of an increase for the taxes. First payment for you would probably be this. When did you say closing is?
By the end of this month.
So they're going to expect you to make the next mortgage payment, is what I would assume, as part of this closing. And what is your ideal rental strategy for this property?
Midterm rental.
Let me just dive into it real fast. So we're going to do our long-term rental. We're going to see if it works for a long-term rental. So just between the sub-2 loan and the escrow, right? Taxes, insurance, and property mortgage insurance, just those alone are $29.38 a month, right? And what we saw for rental income is $24.70 a month. So it's a terrible long-term rental. You're going to lose at least $500 a month without accounting for management, vacancy, or reserve. So if you just set all these to zero, right, we can see it quickly here. Income $24.70, expenses $29.38. Without management reserves, you're already losing $468 a month. Okay. Oh, let me clean up these entry. Furnish, we're going to say it's turnkey. Closing costs, we'll stick with the 2%. We'll avoid the admin for you. And yeah, I like to account for reserves, but we won't even account for that for the time being. Oh, that's right. I had this little guy to make the number a little more round. So just between the down payment, closing costs, and assignment fee, that's all we're going to account for the time being. So $65,000 roughly as your entry. You're going to pay $65,000 to lose $468 a month as a long-term rental without any reserves accounted for. But realistically, depending on your management strategy, you're going to be paying for property management unless you plan on self-managing for the next several years, which I wouldn't. I would account for property management up front. 8% vacancy, which translates to 1 month of the year it's sitting vacant. It did seem like this one got scooped up as a rental fairly quickly once they adjusted the price. So within a month, they were able to get it rented out, which is great. But as you see, it still took 16 days for them to remove it from here. And we don't know if their tenant moved in March 1st, if they moved in April. We don't know any of that. So let's continue along. All right, so it's obviously not gonna work as a long-term rental. We know that much. And we have the balloon, which I also don't like. I don't like this deal from the very beginning because the mortgage payment is really high. $3,000 is really high. It's hard to be profitable once your mortgage gets too high, unless it's a tremendous property. This is a fine townhome. I don't know anything about this market, but it's a fine townhome. I just not something I would worry about. It's a townhome, so there's an HOA. There can be rental restrictions. You can be assessed additional fees outside of the month or the HOA dues. The balloon, I don't like that even with the extension. I don't like a 3-year balloon. That doesn't allow the benefits of real estate to really do anything over such a short period of time, especially with such a new loan. If maybe they were further into their amortization schedule and each payment was going towards more towards principal, then I'd consider it potentially because you're paying down that debt faster. Or if it was like a super low interest rate. Nothing about this deal excites me. And then the fact that it is negative as a long-term rental, substantially negative, right? With reserves management, it's $1,000 a month negative, roughly $900 a month. That doesn't excite me. And the entry isn't very low either at 65,000, and you're paying over market value for it. And we're not actually sitting here comping, but the fact that Zillow is estimating 461, it's going off of other comps. It doesn't know the conditions of other properties, but it's going off of other properties that were sold nearby. Let's see if we can quickly try to comp it. Actually, I don't want to spend time comping right now, but I would assume you're not walking into equity. If anything, you're coming in negative equity, especially when you account for some of these other fees. Okay. So let's look at this property now as a midterm rental. And when it's going to be a midterm rental, you're going to have to pay more each month because you're going to have your
Furnish it as well.
yes. Can you guys just give me one quick second? So, okay, let's continue on. So let's go into, and there's an HOA fee, which isn't included in, I don't see an HOA here, the fee here either. We can look on Zillow to see what it says. Sometimes it will. If it's listed, it probably won't because it was a rental. I don't know, free HOA for 1 year. I mean, that's great, but I don't know why that matters for the tenant. And it'd be nice to know what utilities are covered in the HOA, if any at all. Sometimes water, sewer, things like that will be covered. We don't know. And see, because, let's see here if we'll find it. No, they don't have anything about the HOA or anything in here. So you want to get your HOA information on here. Let's just assume a conservative, very low, not even very low, $50 a month. I don't know. We'll have to figure that out. You'll have to get that information, but you need to account for that here. All right, so
Okay.
let's see what this thing could rent for. If it's already negative $1,000 as a long-term rental, once you account for $500 or $600 a month, or let's $300 to $600 a month for these additional utilities, and your management's going to be 15%, or if not higher, depending on what's available in that area. We are going to, you're going to need a substantial difference between your midterm rental and your long-term rental income. I don't see it renting for $1,500 or $2,000 more just because it's furnished and midterm. But let's just see for the sake of it. So, and once again, I'm not familiar with this market. I don't have the time to look at everything about it, but where is this roughly? So it's south of Salt Lake City. I don't know what the population is here, and I don't know if it's near a hospital or anything. Oh, there's a hospital right there.
Yeah, it is near a hospital.
Okay. And I will say, just because it's a near a hospital doesn't mean it's a great, midterm rental, just one of the economic drivers. Yeah, this primary children's hospital. All right, yeah, right here. Here's the hospital. Here's where it's at. So let's look it up on Furnish Finder. Here's the zip code 84043. So we're gonna go on Furnish Finder and what the hell? Oh, sorry, I am logged in. What's it talking about? All right. Will it go off zip? Let's see. All right. Thank you. So Leahy, Utah, perfect. Let's see if there are other midterm, so we're gonna go for the full house for the time being. And there's a decent number of midterm rentals in this area. It's like actually a pretty high number of midterm rentals. A lot of them are more towards South
I figure.
Salt Lake City, but so then now you have to understand what is your competition? How much are they renting for? So you were around this area is what I saw on the map. Yep, right around this area. Right here. So let's just see, let's get some comps that are, let's try to get a little more. Oh, so there's 2 hospitals. That's good. So we have properties that are this, what's the size of this one? Oh, 3 by 2.5. So I will say from my experience, this does not hold, but from my experience, a 1 and 2 bedrooms tend to do better for traveling nurses and healthcare workers. You know, you get your occasional doctor and all that who needs a furnished rental, who needs a bigger home, but usually it's them and a partner are going and they really only need 2 beds typically at most. So I'll say that like the additional bedrooms don't make a huge difference, but so we see a 3-bedroom literally right next to yours at 2,500 a month, not nearly as nice, right? So we see, let's just eliminate by 2 bedrooms plus, let's filter this down. So we see 3-bedroom, okay, that's much further away. Let's exclude that. Let's just look at the ones in this market, in this area. Okay, so we see 2,500, 2,400, 32, 3,000, 3,000, 25, 33, 3,000. So this 3,300, let's open it up. I think these 25 are literally where this property's at. And what you want to do is not just look at the rental amounts listed, but see on their calendar, have they been booked? Do they have reviews or are they just, you know?
That makes sense.
Because you can list it for whatever you want. Doesn't mean it's rented for that amount. Just like people list a property for sale at whatever price they want. Doesn't mean that's what it's actually sold for. So there's a 4-bed, 3-bath. There's an actual home, not a townhome. And this one, they have it listed at 3,300 a month. That gives you a very good understanding that you cannot expect any more than 3,300 a month because it's a bigger home. It's an actual home versus a townhome. Utilities are included, it has in-unit washer, dryer, furnishings included. But let's see, available on June 10th. And is this June 10th or next June 10th? Oh, so this has been available since June 10th. So they still are not able to rent this out. Nothing on their calendar and reviews. No reviews. So, I mean, personally, most people don't leave reviews, especially on Furnish Finder. Very few of my tenants have ever left reviews. And when I book a midterm rental, I'm not leaving a review either. Even if it just isn't something I think about. So that's a good idea that 3,300 is the max end. And we don't even see that working for a bigger, equally as nice, but bigger home. Okay, so here's a condo, 3 by 2, 1,400 square foot. So similar, the furnishings are not as nice. In the kitchen, you know, I don't know why they would have stainless steel everywhere, but this fridge is not updated to stainless steel. So yours is a little nicer. And this one's 2,500. And it's been available since July 2nd and hasn't been rented out. And nothing in the future shows that it's renting out. And it has no reviews either. I'd say this is very much more likely to be similar to yours. Yes, utilities, yes, in-unit washer dryer, yes, furniture included. Then we have 3-bed, 2-bath condo. This is right in that same area, 2,400 a month, no reviews. They have access to additional amenities. I don't know if yours does. I'm not looking into it.
That's the same complex. Yeah, it's at the same place.
Complex? Okay, so you're seeing 24 and 2,500 for similar properties. And I don't know if this could be that it's booked, since this could be booked since June 12th until the end of July. That's what that could mean, but there's no future bookings. And there are no reviews. So realistically, with all this stuff accounted for, 3-bed, 2-bath, a very similar property, this is like a very great comp, actually. Same complex, same everything. They're getting $2,400 a month. Well, your mortgage is $2,900 a month. Plus, there's all these other expenses. And you're now paying their utilities, which is another couple $100. So let's just run through that. this, I'm already telling you, I already know this is not a good investment, but
Yeah,
let's run through
definitely.
it as a midterm rental on the calculator, right? We're not gonna do rent by the room. It's not big enough for that. So for a midterm rental, are any furnishings conveying? I assume not, right? You have to pay for it.
Yes.
And, 15,000 is a fine estimate for a 3x2 for a midterm rental, right? You're not gonna go above and beyond, but you're gonna furnish it fairly nicely. Couple grand per bedroom, two to $4,000 per bedroom. And then the remainder for like the kitchen, living room, things like that. What this doesn't account for is if you have to send people over to do that work, that's going to cost even more. But this is a fine estimate for the time being. This bumps your entry to $80,000. And once again, we don't have reserves accounted for. We don't have any extra budget for rehab if needed, anything like that. This is just paying the wholesaler fee, your closing costs, assuming there's no like transfer tax or anything like that, which will charge even more, and your down payment. So your PITI, we're assuming $450 a month for utilities. Once again, I don't know, maybe the HOA covers water and all that. I don't know. So I could save $100 or $200 here or there. You're gonna
I
cover,
believe so. I believe the HOA covers water and internet.
it does,
They
so that
just responded.
this.
Yeah,
What is the way dollar
the
amount?
wholesaler told me that they only allow 6 months minimum on rentals.
So your
And
rental strategy won't work because on
yeah,
average between 30 to 180 days. So 1 to 6 months is the average midterm rental stay.
yeah. And then
But
he's like,
get rented
well,
at $2,400 a month, it doesn't make a difference,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
Because this is
Exactly.
all so expensive. Now you're losing even more money. You're putting in even more money to lose even more money, and this strategy is going to work. So I'll
Yeah.
say this, which is what I always say, your ability to analyze and underwrite deals, the reason why it's the most important isn't to make sure you're buying only great, well, it's not just to ensure that you're buying great investments. It's really the foundational reason for it is to ensure that you are quickly avoiding bad investments. It is so much better to do no investment than to go into a bad investment because you're putting money into it. You're potentially losing money each month, and you're spending all this time and bandwidth investing in a property that's going to just drain you mentally and financially. It's way better to not do an investment. So this is why it's so important to analyze and quickly do so you can filter through, because most properties for sale are not great investments. They're just properties for sale for someone to live in. Our job is to find those that are good investments. And with a straight subject to deal, you can't do anything. Your monthly payment on this loan, your tax and insurance, your PMI, all of that is what it is. You can't reduce that any further. It's not like a seller finance deal where you can try to reduce the interest rate or defer payments. You have to make these payments. You have to take over this loan balance. You have to do all these things. This is just a property that's for sale, not a great investment. Is that?
That's great. Thank you so much.
And yeah, provide me any questions or anything else I can expand on, and I'll tell you why this is not a great investment. First of all, it's negative cash flowing. It's a fairly high entry relative to the property value. It's got an HOA, which I don't like because it can currently limit your rental strategies, or it can limit it in the future, which, sometimes they're okay with something and then they change, right? So they can do that. And I don't like that. Especially if it's not going to underwrite as a long-term rental. It's a high monthly mortgage payment. You don't want to be on the hook for $3,000 a month if your property's sitting there vacant. My sweet spot is ideally under 2,000 or 2,500. That's where I'm at typically, where I don't like to be over unless the property garners significant rental income. And I don't know a lot about this market, but it was probably growing because it's a secondary market to Salt Lake. Yeah, so it's growing fairly decently.
It is. It is growing a lot. Yeah.
Primary market at the same time, right? It's still less than 100,000 people. So this isn't even a home, this is a townhome, but which is different, right? Townhomes and condos do not appreciate nearly the same amount that let's see if it's got a percentage for us. So this year, yeah, it's fairly flat. It doesn't show much before. I'd love to know how much. What is this? Sale to list price, home sold above. what we want to see is a lot of properties are actually losing value, right? They list a price and then it's dropping in value. All right. It doesn't say the appreciation. 14.7 what? Maybe it's population focused. Oh, at least all the people are coming from these markets. That's funny. Big markets. All right. Hopefully I was able to explain like the variety of reasons why I don't like this deal. Obviously negative cash flow. You're putting money into a deal that's losing you money. That's foundational. That's the most important. But also the interest rate is fine at 4%, but you also are paying PMI each month. So you're paying property mortgage insurance, which is going towards nothing. It's not benefiting you at all. Similar, like it's tax insurance, just the cost of doing business. The balloon is short, and you're limited by the HOA on what you can do. So it's good. Now you know to move on from it, which is great.
Yes, I know. I love this. Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. We have like 5 more minutes if I can try to address any questions for anyone. Here's my sweet little baby. She's so cute. Oh man, it's gonna make me log in. Whatever. So in the meanwhile, guys, any questions about anything? Personal finance, real estate investing, creative finance, negotiating, underwriting, hit me with it. We got 5 minutes. Now's your chance. Aaron, we will do a pad split. Bring me an opportunity that you like for pad split next week, and we'll talk about rent by the room deal analysis. I'll also create a specific training for that and upload it at some point. I've done a few. I just need to find it and put it somewhere that's accessible. But definitely bring a deal for next week for us to underwrite. That's a pad split, a potential pad split.
Yeah, I'm looking at one right now, so I can get it over to you.
You're looking at one right now, you said?
Yeah.
Okay. And just remember that for a pad split, I'll show you real quick on the calculator. You're gonna start with a fixed number of bedrooms, right? Whatever it is. And then you're gonna try to maximize the number of bedrooms in the home. And number one's gonna be square footage. Is it big enough to allow for more bedrooms? And does the flow of the property, sometimes there's like a 2,000 square foot home that really can't accommodate more than 3 or 4 bedrooms because the way everything is flowed and laid out doesn't allow for great additional bedrooms, where other properties are smaller and they do work well. It just depends on the flow of the property, but it needs to be big enough and have like obvious areas to segment off into additional bedrooms. Living rooms, dining rooms, game rooms, offices, all that are great. Even splitting really large bedrooms into 2 could work as well. But so you're gonna need to know how many bedrooms you're gonna add. We underwrite at $6,500 a room to build. That's just like the initial value. Just like when you're fixing and flipping, you're going to do some quick type of analysis, $1 per square foot, depending on the level of rehab. Similar to pad split, this is kind of what we do for our rent by the room, around $6,500 per room to build just like to block off the room, add the door, fairly straightforward, and then approximately $1,500 a bedroom in furnishing. And that also kind of allows for a little bit of partial furnishing for like the common areas. And then what we're going to need to do is I'm going to show you guys how to get the weekly rate. So pad split is based on a weekly rental rate. And so it's what is that bedroom rent for? And the 2 main factors are, does it have a private bathroom or a shared bathroom? So you're gonna need to know, what does it rent for, the private bathroom and a shared bathroom, and how many of each do you have? Thing I mentioned, I'm going to add that as a section here. What is the weekly rate for private? What is the weekly rate for shared? And then the number of units here. So we can just multiply all that here. And then what are your PITI, HOA, we already have all that, but then what are the anticipated expenses? Otherwise, we're gonna just estimate $600 between water, electric, gas, trash, internet, and landscaping. And then understanding the management fees, vacancy, and CapEx as well. So you'll see, just for this example, this would drive your monthly expenses to $5,590 a month, which is super high. So you're gonna need to generate a lot of income to accommodate for that, right? This isn't an actual example. This is just, if that other house, we added 4 bedrooms, and we had this as a pad split, what would it go for? or what would your expenses be, and what would it look like if that one property was able to add 4 bedrooms, right? Would that pencil or not? And I would say the sweet spot is you don't want to get into properties for rent by the room unless you have at least 6 bedrooms. Could you be profitable at less? For sure. But right around that 6 bedroom mark is when you start getting cash flow positive. Depends on the market and all that. And then every bedroom on top of that starts to drive your income substantially. And this is just coincidence that, so let's see, if we did, it's already got 3 bedrooms and we do the 3. I mean, the hard part here is this rate isn't accurate, but you see, you're getting right near cash flow neutrality at the 6 bedroom mark. It's just coincidence. But like every property you add really starts, or every bedroom you're able to add starts adding, why is this $1? That's weird. Starts adding to that cash flow, obviously. But like what I've seen underwriting a bunch of these deals, 5 bedroom or 6 bedrooms kind of where I like to be at the minimum. And then everyone on top of that is great, especially because you're not going to have 100% occupancy, which is why it's important to have vacancy accounted for. And this 8% translates to each of the units are vacant for 1 month of the year, basically. So we'll get into that deeper next week, but just bring me a property that you have in mind. We'll look at it from the flow of the property, see how many bedrooms we can add, estimate the entry costs, and then gather the weekly rates for the for the rooms that are with a private bathroom and those with a shared bathroom. Estimate the income from there, go through the expenses and see how, if the deal pencils or not. Okay, so we'll run through a full pad split example next week. And I'm gonna rely on you, Aaron, to bring me a deal, so I'm not going into it prepared.
Okay, sounds good.
Cool. Anyone else have a quick question? We have another minute. If not,
I have a quick question. So the wholesaler actually just asked me when I asked him about what is the actual breakdown of the cost. He's like, "What do you mean by that?"
the entry costs. Does
Yeah.
the 55,000,
Yeah, it was 505.
right? Does the 505, how much of that is the debt that you're taking over? And what we saw from PropStream is it's around $450,000. So my estimates were pretty accurate, without even data, that the loan is around 450,000. That's the loan amount you're taking over. And then the remainder, right? Whatever the difference between the purchase price and the sub 2 loan is the cash to seller. And I would assume the assignment fee for the wholesaler, because they're probably not wholesaling a deal and making no money on it. I don't know. We just assume 10,000, which is between 5 to 20,000 is the common spot for creative deals, for wholesale fees. So we just assume 10,000, which is the most common one. And we're assuming the rest is going to the seller. Maybe $0 is going to the wholesaler, or maybe $0 is going to the seller, and all of the 55 is going to the wholesaler. I don't know. That's why you need the breakdown. And what I always state is, hey, I'm happy to pay you. It's not gonna matter for this deal, but I'm happy to pay you whatever your assignment fee is, as long as the deal makes sense for me. But I need to fully understand the breakdown of all my entry costs for when I'm analyzing this deal.
Okay.
Really, because maybe the cash flow is solid, and all you need to do is reduce your entry cost by $5,000 or $10,000 to make this a deal. You need to know, is it going to come from the seller or the wholesaler, or are they just going to say, no, we're going to move on to another buyer? It's really important to understand that, and then to set the stage that I'm happy to pay you whatever, as long as this deal makes sense for me.
Perfect. Got it. Thank you.
So that's what you're asking for, is a breakdown of, I see the loan amount is roughly $450,000. Do you have a mortgage statement to confirm that? And then, so the purchase price at 505, after the loan amount, what's the breakdown, right? What is the remaining $55,000? I don't understand. Like, how's that getting distributed?
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. I mean, this is non-viable anyway. They could give this house to you for free. And
I
for
know,
me,
for sure.
money each month, you know?
For sure.
And that's why it's really important when it comes to sub 2 loans, sub 2 properties you're buying subject to their existing loan, to understand if it's not cash flowing, it's probably going to get worse when you take it over, because taxes and insurance will probably go up, because typically it's a homestead buyer, someone who's living in it. Maybe they have tax exemptions, or they have lower owner occupant like it's a primary residence, that's what they're paying for their insurance, so it's cheaper than you paying as a landlord. So, if it's not gonna cash flow as sub two, there's really not a lot you can do to make it any better, because you can't defer your payment or reduce the payment on the sub two amount. That's where seller finance is better, because there's a lot more opportunity to negotiate. However, they also have a lot less motivation typically, because they're already making a solid amount of money and have a lot of equity. If they really want to get it sold and cash out, they just reduce their price. So pros and cons between seller finance and sub two. Sub two is a lot harder to make. You can't really just change things around to make the deal work. Cool, y'all. All right, remember, if you want a copy of the calculator, very nice and easy. Actually, if you're in the school, and you should be in the school if you're watching this, but it's linked there in the school. Yeah, so you guys obviously know how to get into these trainings, which is good. And then in the school, it's right here for the free calculator. Let's see. Okay, cool. There you go. So you can just get it through here. Let's see, where's the free creative finance? So there you go. You can grab a copy of that calculator anytime you want. You can get the paid calculator. Like I said, the main difference is you have more exits on the paid one, and you have a lot of, if you're leveraging other people's money, whether you have a private money partner or private money lender, you can quickly analyze if that works for you or not. If the deal works using other people's money, and if you need to present it to a private money lender, you have everything consolidated in this one tab to share, hey, private money lender, this is how this deal works. Private money partner, this is how it works. These are your returns. Makes it much easier for that marketing. And you have this long-term breakdown of this deal, not just the year one analysis, but the long-term analysis to look at it over the next 30 years. Especially if you plan on holding this property for a lot longer, then you will have the massive benefit of, like, your cash flow tends to increase over time, right? As the rental income increases, so do some of your expenses. But the main one, debt, is fixed, and you get more appreciation because it compounds over time, and your debt pay down as you go further into your amortization schedule. The longer you continue making payments on your loan, more of that monthly is going towards your principal, right? It's actually paying down the debt. Every month you're paying $22.92.93, but the first month $16.50 is going towards interest, and $642 is going towards actually paying down the principal of that debt. So your new balance only goes down by $642. Well, the next month, still the same loan payment, but slightly less of it is going towards interest, more of it is going towards principal. And at a certain point, the turning point, right, is what it's called. Right here, the principal payment will overtake the portion going towards principal to pay down the debt will be greater than the amount you're paying towards interest. The lower the interest rate, the sooner that occurs. And same with amortization schedule, but we won't worry about that. But the lower the interest rate, the sooner that occurs. And the longer you hold real estate, the more this, so here, the same payment, 642 is going towards principal. Well, at the year 10 mark, well, now 978 is going towards principal. So $300 more every month is getting paid down towards your debt. And you continue holding it, and it keeps getting better and better and better, right? And less goes towards interest. So it's really good to understand kind of the long-term benefits of ownership. And a big one is your debt pay down continues to accelerate as you hold the loan, because that's how amortization works on a loan. All right, cool, y'all. Have a great rest of your week. And once again, once you unlock level 6, once you unlock level 6, you get all these recordings. Pro tip, they're also on YouTube. So just go check them out on YouTube if you like. Make sure to like and subscribe. So I will, more often than not, as soon as I'm uploading them, I'm also putting them on YouTube, because I just want to help as many people as possible. Hey there. Let's ignore that. So that, well, let's see how it looks from your perspective. Thanks for checking out.
That's really helpful. Thank you.
Right. Oh yeah. So this training I did with Rob Abasola's community from Bigger Pockets, I just shared it, and it's talking about private money lenders and partners. So, the Wealth to Real Estate previous live Q&A, one of them, the July 10th one, is listed here as well. Oh, so that was last week, is listed here. So you can access it early, but you can also unlock it once you engage with each other enough right here. I don't know if any of you unlocked it besides me. So, all right, y'all. Just gave you guys a secret for being in here live. So, you can just go to YouTube and get these recordings if you need to. All right. Bye,
Thanks,
everyone.
Michael.
Of course.
Thank you so much.
Bye, y'all. Have a great rest of your week.